The U.S. Defiant slipped out of faster-than-light travel with a brief flash of blue light. The massive human starship, nearly half a mile long, now drifted at the edge of an unexplored sector. Its sleek hull reflected the distant starlight while powerful engines hummed quietly in standby mode. On the bridge, Captain William Taylor stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He was a tall man with short gray hair and eyes that had seen 20 years of space exploration. The view screen before him showed countless stars and a faint, blue-tinged nebula in the distance. "Status report," he said calmly. Lisa Brooks turned from her communication station. Her dark skin contrasted with the blue glow of her console as she adjusted her earpiece. "Captain, I'm picking up an automated distress signal. It's faint, but definitely artificial." "Can you pinpoint the source?" Taylor asked, stepping closer to her station. "Working on it, sir. The signal is coming from the third planet in the nearby system, about 2 light minutes away." Jack Ellis, the tactical officer, spoke up from his station. His fingers moved quickly across his control panel. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple spacecraft in orbit around that planet. Their energy signatures don't match anything in our database." Captain Taylor nodded thoughtfully. "Looks like we found a new civilization. Standard first contact protocols, everyone. Let's approach slowly and broadcast peace messages on all frequencies." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency. The Defiant's engines glowed brighter as the ship began moving toward the distant planet. Navigator Gary Lee plotted their course carefully. "ETA to standard communication range is 15 minutes, Captain." "Very good. Lisa, prepare our first contact package. I want to make sure they understand we come in peace." As they drew closer, the alien vessels became visible on their screens. The ships were unlike human designs. They appeared almost organic, with curved surfaces that seemed to flow like water frozen in time. They were arranged in a perfect defensive formation around their homeworld. "They're definitely organized," Jack said, concern evident in his voice. "That's a military formation if I've ever seen one." Lisa's console suddenly lit up with new signals. "Captain, they're broadcasting to us. The computer is working on translation." The crew waited tensely as the ship's AI processed the alien language. Finally, words appeared on the main screen. "Warning. Unknown vessel. Held AP Roach. This sector is under protection of the HFY Defensive Force." Captain Taylor leaned forward. "Respond immediately. Tell them we are the U.S. Defiant from Earth. We mean no harm and wish to establish peaceful contact." Lisa sent the message, but the response came back almost instantly. "Earth vessel. Your weapon systems are extinct. This is considered hostile intent." Jack shook his head in confusion. "Our defensive shields are up, but weapons are in standby mode. That's standard procedure. They might interpret our technology differently," said Science Officer Kate Miller, speaking for the first time. Her red hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail as she studied the readings on her station. Their sensors could be reading our power distribution as weapons charging. Before Captain Taylor could respond, bright energy beams shot from 3 of the alien vessels. They struck the Defiant's shields, causing the entire ship to shudder. "Minimal damage to forward shields," Jack reported. "They're firing again." "Evasive maneuvers," Taylor ordered. "Do not return fire. I repeat, do not return fire." The Defiant banked sharply as more energy beams passed through the space it had occupied seconds before. The ship's engines flared brightly as it pulled away from the planet. "Get us to a safe distance, but stay in the system," Taylor commanded. "Lisa, keep broadcasting peace messages." When they were safely out of weapon range, Captain Taylor called his senior officers together. "Something went very wrong with our first contact procedure," he said gravely. "We need to figure out why they reacted with such hostility. Kate, analyze everything we know about their ships and technology. Lisa, keep working on their language. Jack, I need defensive options that won't appear threatening." He looked out at the distant planet, Whatever misunderstanding happened here, we need to fix it. The Defiant is an exploration vessel, not a warship. We need to make them understand that before this situation gets worse. The Defiant drifted at a safe distance from the Xaraxian planet. Inside the ship's main conference room, Captain Taylor sat at the head of a long table. The room's walls displayed star charts and data about the newly discovered sector. "What have we learned?" Taylor asked his gathered senior officers. Kate Miller stood up and touched a control panel. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing 7 different alien ship designs. "Captain, we've intercepted communications that confirm our suspicions. This entire sector is controlled by something called the Galactic Concordance, a coalition of 7 alien species, including the Xaraxians we just met. And they're all hostile to humans," Jack Ellis asked, frowning. Kate shook her head. "Not hostile exactly. Afraid. According to what we've translated, they classify Earth as a death world." "A what?" Lisa Brooks looked up from her datapad. "A death world," Kate repeated. "A planet with environmental conditions so harsh that any species evolving there would be considered extremely dangerous. Our gravity, atmospheric pressure, temperature ranges, bacteria, viruses, everything about Earth would be lethal to most of these species." Hall Davis, the ship's navigator, whistled softly. "So they're not angry at us. They're terrified of us." "Precisely," Kate continued. "And there's more. They've been observing Earth for decades but avoided contact. They believe humans are naturally aggressive predators." Captain Taylor rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "That explains their reaction when we approached. They thought we were hunting them." Lisa tapped her screen rapidly. "I've been analyzing their communication patterns. When we said we came in peace, they didn't believe us because our ship maintained standard defensive posture. In their culture, lowering all defenses is the only true sign of peaceful intent. We can't do that," Jack argued. "It's against all safety protocols to drop shields in unknown territory." "No one's suggesting we do," Taylor assured him. "But we need to understand their perspective if we want to establish communication." Athena, the ship's AI, spoke through the room's speakers. Her voice was calm and measured. "I have compiled data from all intercepted communications. There appears to be a fundamental misunderstanding about human intentions throughout the Concordance database. They believe our expansion into space is the beginning of a conquest." "That's ridiculous," Paul said. "We're explorers, not conquerors." "To them, exploration and conquest might be the same thing," Captain Taylor said. "Think about it from their view. A species they consider incredibly dangerous, from a planet that would kill most of them instantly, starts moving into space with ships that have powerful weapons." The room fell silent as everyone considered this perspective. "So what do we do now?" Jack finally asked. Captain Taylor stood up and walked to the view screen. He looked out at the stars, his reflection ghostly against the backdrop of space. "We need to correct these misconceptions. Lisa, is there any neutral territory in this sector where we might establish diplomatic contact?" Lisa scrolled through her data. "There's a trading station called Nexus 9 about 6 light hours from here. Multiple species use it as a commerce hub. The Concordance has minimal military presence there." "Perfect," Taylor nodded. "Paul, set a course, but keep us at a respectful distance when we arrive. We don't want to cause another panic." "What's our approach, Captain?" Kate asked. "We send a small team in a shuttle. No weapons, minimal crew. We request a meeting with any Concordance representative willing to talk. We need to show them who we really are." Jack looked uncomfortable. "Sir, with all due respect, that's risky. We'd be completely vulnerable." Taylor smiled slightly. "Sometimes the greatest strength is showing you're not afraid to be vulnerable, Jack. Besides, if they truly fear us as much as the data suggests, our courage might be the most effective demonstration of our peaceful intentions." He turned to face his crew. "Prepare a shuttle. I'll lead the diplomatic team myself. It's time to show the Galactic Concordance that the humans they fear so much are ready to be friends, not enemies. The human shuttle approached Nexus 9, a massive space station that looked like a metal wheel spinning slowly in space. Lights dotted its surface, and hundreds of ships of different shapes and sizes docked along its outer ring. Inside the shuttle, Captain Taylor sat beside Lisa Brooks. Behind them, Security Chief Frank Murphy and Dr. Amanda Kelly completed the small diplomatic team. "Remember," Taylor said quietly, "we're guests here. Follow all instructions from station security and try not to make any sudden movements. The translator should handle our communications," Lisa added, checking the small device on her wrist. "But be aware of body language. Many species here interpret gestures differently than we do." The shuttle docked with a soft thud. After a brief series of clicks and hisses, the airlock opened. The humans stepped into a wide corridor filled with creatures of various shapes and colors. Some walked on many legs, others floated above the ground, and a few seemed to flow like liquid. Almost immediately, the aliens nearest to them backed away. Some made high-pitched sounds that the translators couldn't process. "They're scared of us," Amanda whispered, "just by looking at us." A station security officer approached. He had blue skin, 4 arms, and a face with 3 large eyes arranged in a triangle. "Humans," he said, his voice translated into English by their devices. "Your presence is unexpected. Ambassador Zrelk is waiting in meeting room 6. Please follow me." As they walked through the station, aliens moved away from their path. Some pointed small devices at them. "Those are biological scanners," Amanda noted. "They're checking our vital signs." The security officer led them to a plane room with a large round table. Sitting on one side was a tall, thin alien with gray skin and large oval eyes. 2 other aliens flanked him, both holding devices similar to tablets. "Ambassador Zrelk," the security officer announced, "the human delegation from the vessel Defiant." Zrelk stood, his movements careful and precise. "Captain Taylor, I am the Concordance representative for this sector. Your request for dialogue is unusual." Taylor stepped forward and extended his hand, then quickly withdrew it when he saw the ambassador stiffen. "Thank you for meeting with us. We wish to clear up what appears to be a serious misunderstanding." They sat down at opposite sides of the table. Taylor noticed that Zrelk kept the maximum possible distance between them. "There is no misunderstanding," Zrelk said. "Your species evolved on a high-gravity, high-oxygen world with extreme temperature variations and deadly microorganisms. Your bodies are filled with bacteria that would kill most of us. Your physical strength exceeds our strongest species by factors. You can survive injuries that would be fatal to us." Frank shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Immediately, one of Zrelk's assistants made a chirping sound and held up his device. The human security officer's adrenaline levels just increased. The assistant said, "He is preparing for combat." "No," Amanda quickly explained. "That's a normal response to social discomfort. Humans produce small amounts of stress hormones in many situations. It doesn't mean we're aggressive." Zrelk's large eyes blinked slowly. "Your species can survive with punctured lungs. You can lose limbs and survive. Your bones knit back together after breaking. Your skin regrows after damage. These are the traits of apex predators. We are resilient," Taylor acknowledged, "but that doesn't make us a threat. Our ship entered your space on a mission of peaceful exploration." "Your ship," Zrelk replied, "is armed with weapons capable of destroying the small moon. You call this peaceful. We call it prepared," Taylor said. "Space is dangerous, but having protection doesn't mean we intend to use it offensively." At that moment, Sam Rodriguez, the shuttle pilot, entered carrying a crate of supplies. The humans had brought samples of Earth art, music, and literature as goodwill gifts. The crate looked heavy, but Sam carried it easily with one hand. Zrelk and his assistants backed away quickly. "See how casually he demonstrates strength that would require mechanical assistance for most species," Zruk said. The Concordance believes you sent your warship to intimidate us. Taylor shook his head. The Defiant is an exploration vessel with defensive capabilities, not a warship. Then why does its arrival cause such fear? Zruk asked. Why does your very presence make my heart beat faster? The meeting ended with tension hanging in the air, but at least a communication channel had been established. As they walked back to their shuttle, Taylor knew they had a long way to go to gain the Concordance's trust. Captain Taylor and his team had barely returned to the Defiant when an urgent message came through. Lisa's console lit up with a flashing red signal. Captain, we're receiving a distress call, she said, her fingers moving quickly across her controls. It's coming from a Concordance mining colony on the fourth moon of the gas giant in the next system. Put it through, Taylor ordered, settling into his command chair. A scratchy voice filled the bridge, punctuated by static and what sounded like explosions in the background. This is Mining Colony Zeta-12. We are under attack by Draxid raiders. Our defenses are failing. Any Concordance vessels, please respond. Taylor looked around at his bridge crew. What do we know about these Draxid? Kate quickly pulled up information on her screen. They're a predatory species from outside Concordance space. Apparently, they raid border colonies for resources and captives. They're not part of the 7 species in the Alliance. How far is the colony? Taylor asked. 20 minutes at maximum speed, Paul replied from the navigation station. Jack spoke up from Tactical. Sir, this could be a trap. The Concordance clearly doesn't trust us. They might be testing our response. Taylor considered this for a moment, then shook his head. Even if it is, people might be dying. We can't ignore a distress call. He tapped his communication panel. Lisa, contact Ambassador Zruk. Tell him we've received the distress call and are moving to assist. Setting course for the colony, Paul announced. Red alert. All hands to battle stations, Taylor commanded. Jack, prepare defensive and rescue operations. We go in, evacuate survivors, and defend them if necessary. The Defiant's engines flared bright as the ship jumped to maximum speed. Inside, crew members rushed to their positions. In the tactical room, Jack Ellis briefed his security teams. We don't know what we're facing, but these Draxid are likely to be dangerous. Standard rescue protocols. Priority 1 is civilian evacuation. When they arrived at the moon, the scene was chaotic. The small colony, a collection of domed structures connected by tunnels, was partially in flames. 3 organic-looking ships, shaped like manta rays, were firing on the colony's defensive shields, which were visibly failing. Those must be Draxid vessels, Kate said. Sensors show they're heavily armed, but have minimal shielding. They're not expecting resistance, Jack noted. This is a mining colony, not a military base. Lisa, hail the Draxid ships, Taylor ordered. No response, Captain, she replied after a moment. Jack, target their weapon systems only. Fire when ready. The Defiant's weapons came to life, sending precise energy beams toward the Draxid ships. 2 of the vessels spun away, damaged but still functional. The third turned to face the human ship. They're powering up weapons, Jack warned. Targeting our engines. Evasive maneuvers, Taylor commanded calmly. The Defiant moved with surprising agility for its size, avoiding a majority of the Draxid attack. What hits they did take were easily absorbed by the human ship's shields. Their weapons technology is less advanced than ours, Kate observed. They're used to attacking undefended targets. Captain, the colony's main dome has been breached, Lisa reported. Life support is failing in sections 3 through 7. Jack, take a team down in shuttles. Get those people out, Taylor ordered. Dr. Kelly, prepare medical for casualties. 3 shuttles launched from the Defiant, speeding toward the damaged colony, while the main ship kept the Draxid vessels occupied. On the colony surface, Jack led his team through smoke-filled corridors. They found terrified aliens, many injured, huddling in sealed emergency chambers. We're from the Earth ship Defiant, Jack told them. We're here to help. The aliens, a mix of several concordant species, looked at the humans with fear that quickly turned to desperate hope as the humans efficiently organized evacuation groups. In space, the Defiant's tactical precision impressed even the Concordance observers who had arrived too late to help. The human ship disabled the Draxid raiders without destroying them, showing restraint even in combat. When all survivors were safely aboard the Defiant, Captain Taylor opened communications with the newly arrived Concordant ships. "This is Captain Taylor of the U.S. Defiant. We've evacuated all survivors from the colony. Our medical team is treating the injured. We stand ready to transfer them to your care whenever you're ready." The Concordance commander's response held both gratitude and lingering suspicion. "Your assistance was unexpected, human captain. The Concordance will remember this action." Taylor smiled slightly. "We were just doing our duty. Any sentient beings would have done the same." The Concordance commander's silence suggested this wasn't necessarily true. 3 days after the rescue mission, the Defiant orbited a large space station that served as the Concordance Council headquarters for this sector. Inside a massive circular chamber, representatives from all 7 species debated loudly about the human question. Nickel Ward, the Defiant's intelligence specialist, sat with Lisa in a small observation area. Their translators worked overtime trying to keep up with the various alien languages. "They're still afraid of us," Nickel whispered, "but now some of them think we might be useful." Lisa nodded. "Fear and opportunity. Not the best foundation for friendship, but it's a start." On the chamber floor, Ambassador Zrelk was speaking. "Yes, the humans displayed concerning combat efficiency, but they also showed restraint. They disabled the Draxid ships when they could have destroyed them. They prioritized saving lives." Another alien, with thick orange fur and 6 eyes, stood in opposition. "That doesn't change what they are. Death World predators with technology that matches or exceeds our own. If we bring them closer, we risk everything." The debate continued for hours. Eventually, the council reached a decision. A formal message was sent to the Defiant requesting a meeting with Captain Taylor. In the ship's conference room, Taylor read the message to his senior staff. "They're asking for our help against the Draxid," he said. "Apparently these raids have been increasing over the past year, and our performance impressed them." Sam Rodriguez grinned. "So we went from dangerous aliens to potential bodyguards." "Something like that," Taylor said with a small smile. "They want us to help train their defense forces and assist in designing improved shield systems for their ships." Jack Ellis leaned forward. "It's an opportunity, Captain. We can build trust through cooperation and learn more about this sector and its species," Kate added. Taylor nodded. "My thoughts exactly. Lisa, tell them we accept. We'll begin joint training exercises immediately." Over the next 2 weeks, the crew of the Defiant worked closely with Concordance forces. Sam helped their engineers modify shield systems, showing them techniques that were standard on human ships, but revolutionary to alien eyes. Jack trained Concordance security teams, demonstrating human combat tactics. The aliens were shocked by how effective these methods were. "You fight as individuals supporting a team," one alien officer noted. "We fight as a unified group. Your way allows for more adaptation." In the medical bay, Dr. Kelly developed treatment protocols that seemed miraculous by Concordance standards. Her ability to treat different species by adapting human medical knowledge impressed even the most skeptical alien doctors. "Your understanding of biology is exceptional," a Xoraxian physician admitted. "Perhaps because your own biology is so robust, you better understand what makes life forms survive." Not all interactions were smooth. Many Concordance members still showed fear around humans. Some refused to be in the same room as the Death Worlders. But slowly, barriers began to break down. During a planning session for joint fleet exercises, Captain Taylor noticed how Nickel Ward had established a friendly rapport with several alien intelligence officers. "How did you manage that?" he asked her privately. Nickel smiled. "I showed them my family photos. My kids playing in the park, my husband cooking dinner. normal, everyday human life. It helped them see us as people, not just powerful aliens. Taylor nodded thoughtfully. Sometimes the most effective diplomacy happens on a personal level. The breakthrough came when long-range sensors detected a large Draxid fleet forming at the edge of Concordance space. Intelligence suggested they were planning a major offensive against multiple worlds. For the first time, Concordance leaders invited Captain Taylor to their strategic planning session as an equal, not just an observer. Our analysts believe they will attack these 3 systems, a Concordance admiral explained, pointing to a star map. Our forces are spread too thin to defend them all adequately. Taylor studied the map quietly. Then he pointed to a different location entirely. They won't attack those systems. That's what they want you to believe. Their main force will come here, where your defenses are strongest but your civilian population is largest. The Concordance leaders looked at him in surprise. How can you be certain? Ambassador Zralk asked. Because, Taylor explained, if I were planning this attack, that's exactly what I would do. And based on what we've seen of Draxid tactics, they think the same way I do. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Maybe humans understood the Draxid so well because, in some ways, they weren't so different after all. Captain Taylor's prediction proved correct. 3 days later, the main Draxid fleet, nearly 30 ships strong, appeared near Concordance Prime, the most populated planet in the sector. They'd bypassed the outer defense stations and headed straight for the civilian centers. The Defiant, positioned according to Taylor's strategy, was waiting with 5 Concordance vessels. The human ship took the lead position in the defensive formation. All hands, battle stations, Taylor ordered calmly. This is not a drill. Throughout the ship, crew members moved with practiced efficiency. In engineering, Sam Rodriguez monitored the enhanced shield systems he had helped design for both the Defiant and their Concordance allies. Shield modifications are holding strong, he reported. The Concordance ships are showing 40% improved protection. On the bridge, Jack Ellis monitored the tactical displays. Draxid fleet is moving into attack formation. They're targeting the orbital habitat rings first. They're going after civilians, Taylor said grimly. Lisa, open a channel to all Concordance ships. When the connection was established, Taylor spoke clearly. This is Captain Taylor. Remember the plan. The Defiant will draw their main force. Concordance vessels will protect the civilian structures. Stay in your assigned positions. The alien commanders acknowledged the orders with varying degrees of confidence. This battle plan, using a single ship as bait to divide enemy forces, was not their standard approach to warfare. They're taking the bait, Jack announced as the Draxid vessels adjusted course toward the Defiant. 20 ships heading our way. The rest are continuing toward the habitats. Perfect, Taylor nodded. Full power to forward shields. Paul, prepare for maneuver sequence Alpha. The Defiant surged forward, directly toward the approaching Draxid fleet. To the watching Concordance commanders, it appeared suicidal. The human ship was heavily outnumbered. But as the Draxid fired their weapons, the Defiant executed a series of precise movements that no ship its size should have been able to perform. It twisted and rolled, evading many shots while its enhanced shields absorbed the rest. Return fire, Taylor ordered. Target their propulsion systems. The Defiant's weapons struck with surgical precision, disabling engines and weapons without destroying the ships completely. 5 Draxid vessels drifted, unable to maneuver. The rest continued their pursuit, but now they were stretched thin, exactly as Taylor had planned. Concordance ships are engaging the remaining Draxid near the habitats, Lisa reported. They're following our tactical guidance. On the largest Draxid vessel, alien commanders watched in confusion as their carefully planned attack fell apart. They had never encountered human battle tactics before and couldn't predict the Defiant's movements. Sir, Jack said suddenly, I'm detecting a weakness in their command ship's shield pattern. If we could get a boarding party aboard, we might be able to access their central systems. Taylor considered this. That's high risk, Jack. I know, but it could end this faster. Less lives lost on both sides. After a moment's thought, Taylor nodded. Make it happen. Jack assembled a small team of 6 crew members. They boarded a specialized shuttle designed for stealth approaches. As the Defiant continued to engage the Draxid fleet, drawing their attention, the small shuttle slipped through the chaos toward the command ship. What they're attempting is considered suicidal by our standards, a Concordance commander transmitted to Taylor. No species would risk elite warriors on such a mission. Humans have a saying, Taylor replied. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. The shuttle successfully attached to the Draxid command ship at a maintenance port. Jack's team cut through the hull and entered the vessel. Inside, they moved quickly through the organic-looking corridors. These ships are partially biological, one team member observed. The walls almost seem alive. They encountered Draxid crew members. Tall, reptilian beings with 4 arms and armored skin. Despite the aliens' natural advantages, the human team's training and coordination gave them the edge in close quarters. Jack led them to the ship's central control room. After a brief firefight, they secured the area. A specialist began working on the alien controls. I'm in their systems, she reported. And Captain, you need to see this. These attack plans, they're not Draxid design. There's evidence of outside influence. Someone else is coordinating these raids. Jack studied the data. She's right. The Draxid are being manipulated by another party. Someone wants the Concordance destabilized. Back on the Defiant, Taylor received this information with concern. Copy that. Download everything you can. Then disable their ship and get back here. As the boarding team completed their mission, the tide of battle had already turned. The Concordance ships, following human tactical advice, had successfully defended the habitats with minimal damage. When it was over, the surviving Draxid vessels retreated. The Concordance had won its first decisive victory against them. Thanks to human assistance, the data recovered from the Draxid command ship filled the main screen in the Defiant's conference room. Captain Taylor stood with his arms crossed, studying the complex patterns of communication and supply routes. The analysis is complete, Nickel Ward said, pointing to several highlighted sections. These transmissions are definitely not Draxid in origin. They're coming from the Nexuri. The Nexuri. Kate Miller looked surprised. But they're supposed to be neutral traders. They do business with everyone in this sector. Taylor nodded slowly. The perfect cover for gathering intelligence and manipulating events. Ambassador Zrelk, who had joined the briefing, clicked his mandibles in what the humans now recognized as a sign of distress. This is most disturbing. The Nexuri have presented themselves as friends of the Concordance for generations. Nickel brought up more information. According to these files, the Nexuri have been studying humanity from a distance for years. They intercepted our early space transmissions and determined that humans would be a unifying force in the sector if we ever arrived. And they didn't want unification, Taylor guessed. Exactly. They prefer keeping the various species divided, easier to manipulate for their own profit. Jack Ellis studied the tactical data. So they've been equipping the Draxid and pointing them at Concordance colonies, creating fear and instability. And when we showed up, they accelerated their plans, Lisa added. They feared we would do exactly what we've done. Help the Concordance improve their defenses. Captain Taylor turned to Zrelk. Ambassador, we need to confront the Nexuri with this evidence. They're the real threat to peace in this sector. Zrelk's large eyes blinked rapidly. The Nexuri High Command is based on their homeworld. It is heavily defended. They would never admit us. Then we go in unofficially, Taylor said firmly. A small, fast ship could get past their outer defenses if we plot the right course. Paul Davis, who had been quietly analyzing the star charts, spoke up. I might have found a way, Captain. There's a dense asteroid field near their home system. The Nexuri consider it impassable, so it's barely monitored. Can you navigate it? Taylor asked. Paul smiled slightly. It would be challenging, but yes. Human reflexes should be able to handle it. The plan came together quickly. The Defiant would remain with the Concordance fleet as a visible presence, while a small team would take a specially modified shuttle through the asteroid field to the Nexari homeworld. As they prepared for the mission, Lisa Brooks made a breakthrough with the encrypted Nexori communications. "Captain," she called out excitedly, "I've cracked their primary security protocols. We can access their planning database." The information she discovered was alarming. The Nexari had extensive files on humanity, gathered secretly over decades. They had been monitoring Earth communications since humans first started broadcasting radio signals into space. "They have a detailed plan to isolate and contain humanity," Lisa explained. "They've been spreading misinformation about us throughout the sector even before we arrived. They're the ones who labeled Earth a death world." In the shuttle bay, the small team prepared for their dangerous mission. Paul would pilot, with Nicole handling intelligence, Jack for security, and Dr. Kelly for medical support. Captain Taylor had decided to lead the mission himself. "The Defiant is in good hands with Kate as acting captain," he told them during the final briefing. "Our goal is to reach the Nexari High Command and present our evidence directly. We need to expose their manipulation before they can cause more conflict." As they boarded the shuttle, Taylor received an urgent message from the science lab. Kate's voice sounded concerned. "Captain, we'd found something else in the Draxid data. The Nexari have developed a bioweapon specifically designed to target human physiology. They've studied our DNA extensively. A weapon against humans." Taylor frowned. "But we've only just arrived in this sector. They've been preparing for our eventual arrival for a long time," Kate explained. "They identified us as a potential threat to their influence years ago." The shuttle launched quietly, slipping away from the Defiant as the larger ship maintained its position with the Concordance fleet. Paul guided the small craft toward the distant asteroid field, its engines running silent. Inside the cramped vessel, Captain Taylor reviewed their mission one last time. "We're not going in looking for a fight. Our goal is to reveal the truth and offer peace. The Nexari have been manipulating this entire sector through fear. We need to show them a different way." "Even after they created a weapon specifically to kill us?" Jack asked skeptically. Taylor's expression was firm. "Especially then. The easiest response to fear is more fear. The hardest and best response is understanding. That's the humanity I want them to see." The human shuttle emerged from the asteroid field with minor damage to its outer hull. Paul's piloting had been nothing short of miraculous, guiding them through gaps that seemed impossibly small. Now, the Nexari homeworld filled their view screen, a beautiful blue-green planet surrounded by defense platforms. "Their sensors haven't detected us yet," Nicole reported. "The stealth systems are working." Captain Taylor nodded. "Take us down to the coordinates we identified. Their high command center should be in that mountain complex." Paul guided the shuttle into the atmosphere, using cloud cover to avoid detection. They landed in a forested area about a mile from the Nexari government complex. "Security looks heavy," Jack observed through binoculars. "Guards at every entrance. We're not going to fight our way in," Taylor decided. "Lisa, transmit our evidence to every communication channel in the complex. Let's see if someone inside will listen." Lisa activated her equipment and began broadcasting the data they had gathered about the Nexari manipulation of the Draxid. Within minutes, alarms sounded throughout the complex. "I think they noticed us," Jack said dryly. A patrol of Nexari security forces approached their position. The aliens had sleek, silvery skin and moved with fluid grace. They carried advanced energy weapons. "Stay calm," Taylor instructed his team. "No threatening moves." The Nexari surrounded them, weapons raised. One stepped forward, apparently the leader. "Humans," it said through a translator, "your presence here is illegal. How did you penetrate our defenses?" Taylor stood with his hands visible. "We came to speak with your leadership about the Draxid attacks and your role in them." The Nexari seemed surprised. "Your accusation is absurd. The Draxid are mindless raiders." "We have proof," Taylor replied calmly. Evidence that your government has been manipulating them to attack the Concordance. Evidence that you've been studying humanity with the intent to isolate us. Before the Nexari could respond, a new voice spoke from behind them. Bring them to the central chamber. A taller Nexari with elaborate markings on its silver skin approached. The High Council will hear these claims. Inside the massive stone complex, Captain Taylor and his team were led to a circular chamber. 7 Nexari leaders sat on elevated platforms, looking down at them with expressions of curiosity and suspicion. You have violated our sovereignty, one stated. By our laws, that alone is punishable by death. Then why haven't you killed us already? Taylor asked simply. The chamber fell silent. Finally, the central figure spoke. Because you offered peace when you should have sought revenge. It is puzzling behavior. Taylor stepped forward. We discovered your manipulation of the Draxid. We found your plans regarding humanity. We even know about the bioweapon you developed against us. Yet we came here not for war, but for understanding. Lisa projected their evidence onto the chamber walls. The Nexari Council watched silently as their plans were revealed. For centuries, the Nexari have maintained stability in this sector by ensuring no single power grew too strong. The lead counselor finally said, when we detected human transmissions, we saw a species with remarkable adaptability and aggressive expansion. Your arrival threatened the balance we maintain. Balance through manipulation and fear, Taylor countered. There's a better way. Cooperation. True alliance. Pretty words, another counselor dismissed. But your species has a violent history. Yes, Taylor acknowledged. We've fought countless wars among ourselves. We've made terrible mistakes, but we've learned from them. Our strength isn't just in our biology or technology. It's in our ability to change, to grow. The human team watched as the Nexari Council members communicated silently among themselves. Finally, the lead counselor spoke again. Your actions are inconsistent with our predictions. You had every reason to attack us, yet you chose dialogue. Perhaps our analysis of humanity was incomplete. 3 days later, Captain Taylor stood on the bridge of the Defiant as representatives from all species in the sector gathered in a nearby space station. On the main screen, delegates from Earth who had been summoned joined virtually. What we're proposing is unprecedented, Taylor told the assembly. Not the Concordance, which was built on mutual fear. Not Nexari manipulation, which was built on control. But a true galactic union, founded on respect for our differences and appreciation of our shared goals. The Nexari representative spoke next. We misjudged humanity. We saw their adaptability as a threat when it could be our greatest asset. The Nexari will support this union. Ambassador Zrok stepped forward. When the human warship first entered our sector, we feared the worst. Now we understand that what we saw as a weapon was actually a tool for exploration and connection. As the various species began discussing the details of the new alliance, Captain Taylor smiled slightly. The ship that had caused such alarm upon its arrival was now the center of a new beginning. Human adaptability had once again found a way forward, not through dominance, but through understanding.